Hello, America and the world. Welcome to the second half of the Life After Lockup program with Michael von Allmen. We have been thoroughly impressed with his dignity and his spirit being wrongfully convicted and incarcerated for 11 years of actual incarceration and 16 years on parole. And we left the first program with someone visiting with his mother while he was in prison. The actual person that did the crime that he was in prison for, that person's wife was there visiting and had a conversation with his mother, and it ignited something in her to, I guess, have some doubts about Michael's incarceration. So let's go back to that so we can kind of maybe find out what happened with that. This is the wife of the guy that actually did the crime.
Yes, the actual perpetrator had just gotten killed in a car wreck. And liberated this woman, okay, this neighborhood friend of mine. And she saw my mother in the visiting room, and that planted a seed. And I'm not sure exactly when later, but sometime later, she's having a conversation with some people where I come up in the conversation about my rape case and being in prison. And she says, yeah, it doesn't sound anything like what Mike would do. It sounds something more like Tackett would do. And Tackett was the actual perpetrator's name. And she says as those words came across her lips that a light bulb was going on, that I was probably doing time for her ex's crime. So 10 years into my incarceration, a friend that I had made while in prison knew this girl. The actual guy that she came to see at that first visit was now getting ready to go out on parole, and he had written her a letter wanting to know if he could contact her when he got out. And she had written this letter back saying, yes, yeah, come here, call, and oh, by the way, do you know Mike von Allmen? I believe my ex committed this crime.
Wow.
Well, this guy had been listening to me whine about my innocence this full time. He brought the letter straight to me and said, here, read this. And I read that, and I read the part about, I believe my ex did the crime, what he looked like.
Wow.
And he said, he was a big curly-headed guy.
Wow.
I go back to reading the letter, I said, where's he at? He said, he's dead. He died with the police chasing him in a car wreck. And it just blew me away. But it gave me a name and a possibility that in the middle of DNA testing, all I had was a name. Now we go back, this happened 10 years into my incarceration. Next year I get paroled. 16 years goes by on parole, and I call the Innocence Project and tell them about the letter, the name. They locate the girl who was waiting to tell the story.
Wow.
She filled in the information about the green car that they were looking for, the pistol, the pictures, the histories, the other victims.
Oh my goodness.
All of it panning out and looking at exactly like this was the guy.
Wow.
The Innocence Project put it together, presented it to a judge, and without hesitation, vacated my sentence, and after 27 years, it was over.
Jesus.
It was just like that, it was over.
Jesus.
And that's what I said.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Wow. And now, the picture of the guy, because I've seen the picture of the actual guy, there was a resemblance.
Strikingly.
Right.
Strikingly.
That had to have been awfully, I guess, I don't even know how to describe that.
The sad part of my case is it happened in a neighborhood bar where people lived in my neighborhood. It was my neighborhood bar. It wasn't my bar, it was in my neighborhood. So there were people in the bar who were there who saw this guy, who couldn't testify because of their friendships with the girl's boyfriend, who said, no, that was him. And they said, no, I was there. I almost talked to him thinking it was him. It wasn't him. And he expressed himself in a way that they were intimidated by and would not testify.
Wow.
That
it was somebody else.
Yeah, there was another perpetrator, another guy looked just like me in that bar that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because when you showed me the pictures of the actual guy, and I thought that it was you, but until I saw actually your picture.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that is a striking resemblance right there. And it's, I'm not going to even say it's understandable, but it's understandable why they would question you. But with all the information that you had on your behalf, it seems like to me that would have accounted for something. But it didn't.
No.
It didn't.
No.
And because the girl was the victim was so sure, I guess that it was.
Yes, I got confident in her choice.
Wow. I dug up something from the Innocent Project, and I thought this was interesting. I've had it in my hand for a while. The leading causes of wrongful conviction, and the number one leading cause is eyewitness misidentification.
Absolutely.
The number one leading cause is misidentification.
And that's police, their interrogations from 70s, 80s, starting to reform in the 90s, in year 2000. Yeah, DNA is bringing about a massive change in the criminal justice system, and it's just pointed out its failures, and it's leading to a much better system. Not a much better system. There are certainly identifying a perpetrator has changed. In my case, it was a photo pack where a picture of 6 possible suspects were dropped in an envelope. In my package, there was one big curly-headed guy in that envelope. At least now there's got to be 6 big curly-headed guys in there. And there's got, it's moving towards where the officer giving the exam or showing the photos to the victim doesn't have any idea what she's looking at or him, who they're looking at, what the crime is. So they're unable to affect the outcome of the decision of the victim whatsoever. Whereas it was able to occur in the times of my investigation.
Now, DNA in your situation, was DNA ever taken, or was that ever a factor in your situation?
We had hoped it would be. We certainly looked for the evidence to DNA test. But ultimately, no, there was nothing that we could do. We tested, they found the pubic hair combings that was submitted in my case. That was a part of the rape kit recovered from the victim.
Right.
Ultimately, all of the hairs in the kit were her hairs.
Oh, okay.
So they never had any hair evidence against me to start with.
Oh, okay.
But there was a part of the hearing that that went over the hair test, you know, for a long time.
Wow.
A lot of mumbo jumbo to come up with. We can't say it's his. We can't say it isn't his.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and you also took a polygraph test way before any of this. And even though we said, you know, they said, but polygraph is not admissible in court. I mean, it has to have some type of weight to it.
Well, yeah, it carried the weight of opening my case up after I was convicted. Right away, I tried to prove that I didn't do it, and was wanting to take any type of lie detecting test they could come up with, and had managed to take a polygraph test from a private, I'm gonna call him a private, but he was an actual county police officer. But he was hired by my attorney to give me a polygraph test, and I passed it. But I'd asked and pushed for something a lot more official and real, and we finally, through court order, was able to. I went back up from LaGrange to Louisville to take a polygraph test with their polygraph operator, and passed that. And that got my case, that and the arrest of a serial rapist, got my case reopened by the chief of police in Louisville.
Wow.
And while it didn't yield a reversal, that was 8 years later when I met the parole board. It gave them enough to give me the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the only reason I got paroled after 11 years.
Because of the
polygraph test. And the chief of police saying that my case was reopened, and I passed the polygraph test.
Wow.
And while it bore with the parole board on that decision, 16 years later, with the Innocence Project, it bore weight with the judge, who didn't recognize it as a fact, but as an investigative tool for the criminal justice system. And that, coupled with the evidence against the actual perpetrator, he didn't hesitate. Right,
and that's, praise God for that. I mean, for somebody being able to stand up and say, okay, we made a mistake. Were you ever exonerated?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Part of, you know, the Commonwealth wasn't ready to retry this case. The evidence was overwhelming for this other guy. Although the victim was still, she was ready to send me back. I believe she still is.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I lost
the
it.
Exoneration.
Yes. They offered to dismiss the case with prejudice, and my attorney was dissatisfied with that because that left the case open.
Right.
And so he says, no, that's, you know, if we got to retry it, we got to retry it. Let's do it, Judge. And so we backed up again, and the Commonwealth came back with, yes, we'll dismiss without prejudice.
Wow. And I know that even though you've done all that time, that at least gave you a clear record.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here's another question. I'm sure people are wanting to know. What about compensation?
Compensation in the state of Kentucky is what you get through the civil courts. And through civil courts, you have to prove that the Commonwealth or the police department did something wrong, violated your rights in some kind of way. What we were told initially was that during the investigation, at the second viewing of my photo pack, the officer who was sure he had got the right guy just from the pictures and everything, he wasn't taking the investigation any further. He was so sure of it. What we were told was at this second viewing was that he made the comment that I had already assaulted 5 or 6 other people, women, and that they were all too afraid to come forward.
Wow.
We, think that the case was decided right then. And that's what we filed a civil lawsuit for. But when everyone met in court and told their side of the story, that's not how it was told in court and under oath. So we were unable to show that the Commonwealth or the police department did anything wrong. Therefore,
you're not entitled to compensation?
I'm not entitled to anything, no. That was the end of it.
So
I got 11 years, and be thankful with your freedom.
Oh my goodness. So if they can't prove, now they exonerated they found out that the evidence was overwhelming, that you were innocent, but you don't get nothing. But okay.
I don't get a thing, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, but that's brought me into a whole new phase of my life when I thought, just taking the grandkids to the park was the end of it. Now I've moved into a whole new phase of life, and which is advocating against, not really against, but for criminal justice reform, I guess.
Right.
And one of the first things I brought up was, the first things I jumped on board with was the death penalty. Because obviously I have a case that shows that the criminal justice system is flawed.
Yes.
And how could we administer a perfect penalty like death in an unperfect system?
Wow.
So yes, it just naturally I got to speak up against the death penalty there.
Right.
And the incarceration experience in itself. Starting to raise awareness of and try to jump on the conversation of mass incarceration, because it certainly needs to be minimized.
Right. So in your particular situation, how could that have been prevented?
Well, certainly, as far as wrongful conviction goes, moving the investigators into this what's called double-blind investigation of the lineup, that what folks are up in that lineup are similar in appearance, and that the person administering the test has no idea of who is up there, what the crime is about, what the victim is looking for. Unable to just, as you read there, wrongful.
The leading cause of wrongful convictions, right?
Misidentification. That's certainly one of the easiest things that we can fix, is to just adjusting the way investigators commit their investigation. Certainly the second, I think, is the false confessions.
Right. Now that one's on down the list. I think the second one basically is the unvalidated and improper forensics. And
junk science.
Mm-hmm. Junk science.
Yeah, surely.
And false confessions is the next one. And then informants, the snitches and things of that nature. Sometimes people tell lies on other folks to keep.
Will manufacture a story, just trying to help themselves.
Exactly. But this misidentification thing, would DNA have that would have been the thing that would have helped you if they'd had it?
And yes, DNA certainly. I wouldn't have gone beyond. I wouldn't have been arrested.
Wow.
I'd have probably gave a cheek swab at the jail or whatever, and.
But at that time, DNA wasn't.
Oh no, I wasn't even thought about.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I was 5 years into the incarceration before DNA started.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget reading about my first case of that, because I thought it was going to liberate me.
Wow.
But as I got into it, couldn't find anything to DNA test.
Wow. Yeah. Now this is 11 years in prison, 16 years on parole. You're a free man. You got your life. I'm not gonna even say you got your life back. You got a life now. How do you feel?
I can't put I can't put it into words, and I've relied on a photograph being worth 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. The photograph, or it is a photograph or a picture. Mm-hmm. But it is that picture of Muhammad Ali standing over top of Sonny Liston, laying on the mat. That's justice served right there. Okay. That's the only way I could call it.
Wow. Do you have any times when you were just mad, bitter?
Somehow. Bitterness is an emotion that can consume you.
Yeah.
If I pause one moment to give that, then that situation is still winning. So no, let it go.
You're right, man. That is so good. That is so good. I'm just personally glad that I've met you, and just I know this story is gonna bless a lot of people, and I'm amazed, still amazed at your heart, because I'm upset knowing about it. And I have interviewed other innocent people, and it bothers me. And I think still that it's the power of God that's overshadowing you, that's helping you to maintain. And now you said you're in a plumbing business now?
Yes.
So you got your own business and everything?
And it's I served as a plumber since I'd been out on parole, and done fairly well at that. I actually have retired now, and with a pension. And,
wow, praise God.
But I'm still doing plumbing repairs and stuff like that.
Okay, so
home improvement.
Home improvement, good deal. How would you say your life is now? I mean, with all of that.
Right now, it is exciting.
Good.
It is. Like I say, I moved into. I should be doing nothing but taking the kids up to the park and pushing them in a swing. But no, I've moved into a whole new, unexpected part of my life, being advocacy for justice reform, and it's exciting.
That's good.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
Wow.
It gives me the ability to feel like the 27 years as a sex offender was going to serve a better purpose.
Good, and that's a good way to look at it, because it is serving a better purpose. Because, you know, if you just did the 11 years and did the 16 years and then, okay, I'm done, you okay, but then there are other people that need your testimony.
The system needs the testimony.
Yes, sir.
And I'm certainly prepared to give it all. Like I say, I haven't been able to air a grievance in 27 years. I'm ready to blow off.
You're ready to go, and that is so good. I'm proud of where you've come from, and proud of where you are now. And I know that it's some things are unexplainable from you as far as your feelings and how things are. But I'm glad your life is. Do you feel like you've been given back what has been taken?
The picture of Muhammad Ali goes back way before the exoneration, really, because I was somehow was taking the kids to school, and the kids said something about, I need some money for pictures or something. And it was at that moment that I just, wow, man, I'm back exactly where I would have been to start with.
Wow.
The only thing I've had missing is this 11 years stuck in it. And at that moment when I realized that I was exactly where I was going to be, the life was exactly as it was going to be, I felt like Muhammad Ali right then at that moment.
Wow.
When everything that was taken was there. I got it all back.
Got it all back, and some.
And some.
Good, and that is so great. I'm always kind of wondering how do you make up for that? But even with them, they can't. All they can say is I'm sorry, in a sense. But still, that's just me talking. I believe, even though no amount of money can give back the years that you lost, there ought to be some type of compensation for you for the time that you've spent, and I still would keep pursuing that, because that to me, that's me. Now you can do what you want to do, but
that's part of the advocacy.
That's me, and that is so good. I think our time is just about up, and I just want to say, is there anything else that you wanna say for 30 seconds?
Go Cards.
Oh Lord Jesus. But man, listen, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for traveling, and just thank you for your strength. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for watching the program, the second part of the program, and I hope this is helping you to see a different side of the criminal justice system. We need some help. They need some help. They need much prayer. And thank you again for watching, and you have a marvelous day.